The first unmistakable sign that an avoidant actually loves you is when they remain present during your most challenging, vulnerable, or emotionally overwhelming moments, instead of using them as opportunities to create distance. Avoidants are master escape artists who typically use any hint of emotional intensity as justification for withdrawal. When someone is crying, struggling, or needing support, the avoidant's usual response is to feel suffocated and disappear until the emotional storm passes. But when an avoidant truly loves someone, they override their natural instinct to flee from emotional intensity. Instead of viewing your difficult moments as threats to their autonomy, they see them as opportunities to demonstrate their care through presence and support. They don't just tolerate your vulnerability, they actively choose to stay close during the times when you need them most. This consistent presence during difficulty is particularly meaningful because avoidants typically view other people's emotional needs as burdens or threats. When they choose to bear witness to your pain, to offer comfort during your struggles, to remain steady when you're unstable, they're demonstrating a level of emotional maturity and genuine care that goes far beyond their comfort zone. The love is evident not just in their presence, but in their quality of presence. They're not grudgingly staying because they feel obligated. They're choosing to be your anchor because they genuinely want to help you weather the storm. They understand that love sometimes requires showing up for difficult moments, and they're willing to do that work because you matter more to them than their own discomfort, when they protect your reputation and defend you in your absence. The second situation that reveals an avoidant's genuine love is when they become protective of your reputation and actively defend you when you're not around to defend yourself. Avoidants typically maintain emotional distance by staying neutral in conflicts and avoiding getting involved in other people's drama. They prefer to remain detached observers rather than passionate advocates for anyone, including romantic partners. But when an avoidant truly loves you, they can't remain neutral when others criticize, disrespect, or speak poorly about you. Their protective instincts override their usual desire to stay uninvolved. They find themselves defending your character, correcting misunderstandings about you, and shutting down conversations that paint you in a negative light. This protective behavior is significant because it requires the avoidant to take emotional risks they normally avoid. By defending you, they're revealing their investment in your well-being and reputation. They're showing that your happiness and dignity matter enough to them that they're willing to engage in potentially uncomfortable confrontations. The avoidant who loves you will correct friends who make unfair judgments about your behavior. They'll challenge family members who don't treat you with adequate respect. They'll refuse to participate in conversations that mock or diminish you, even when you're not present to witness their loyalty. This protection extends beyond just defending against criticism. The loving avoidant actively promotes your positive qualities in social situations. They highlight your accomplishments, share stories that showcase your character, and make sure others see the best aspects of who you are. They become your unofficial public relations manager because they're genuinely proud to be associated with you. The love is demonstrated through their willingness to potentially damage other relationships to protect yours. They risk social awkwardness, family tension, or friendship conflicts because preserving your reputation and dignity feels more important than maintaining their own social comfort. This represents a fundamental shift in their priorities that only occurs when someone has captured their heart completely. Situation number 3. When they make long-term plans and commitments that include you without being pressured. The third situation that reveals an avoidant's genuine love is when they voluntarily begin making future plans and commitments that include you without any pressure or ultimatums from your end. Avoidants are notoriously commitment phobic and future avoidant, preferring to keep their options open and their timeline flexible. They typically resist anything that feels like it's locking them into specific arrangements or limiting their freedom to change course. But when an avoidant truly loves you, they begin organically thinking about and planning for a future that naturally includes your presence. They start mentioning vacation plans they'd like to take with you months in advance. They suggest moving in together without you bringing up the topic first. They talk about career decisions with consideration for how they might affect your relationship. This voluntary future planning is extraordinary for avoidants because it requires them to acknowledge that they want you to be a permanent part of their life. They're essentially admitting that their feelings for you are strong enough to overcome their usual resistance to commitment and long-term planning. The avoidant who loves you will start making financial decisions with your shared future in mind. They'll choose job opportunities based partly on how they'll affect your relationship. They'll invest in shared experiences and possessions that demonstrate their intention to build something lasting with you. Most significantly, they'll do all of this without being asked, pressured, or given ultimatums. The planning emerges naturally from their own desire to create a life that includes you rather than from external pressure to prove their commitment. This organic evolution toward shared planning reveals that their feelings have grown strong enough to override their natural resistance to binding arrangements. The love is evident in how they frame these future plans. They don't present them as sacrifices they're making for the relationship or compromises they're accepting to keep you happy. Instead, they express genuine excitement about building a life together, enthusiasm about shared goals and dreams, and natural inclusion of you in their vision of their own future happiness. They begin to see commitment not as a loss of freedom, but as a choice to build something meaningful with someone who enhances their life. This fundamental shift in perspective, from viewing commitment as constraint to seeing it as investment in shared happiness, only occurs when an avoidant has found someone they genuinely love and want to keep in their life permanently. Why these situations are definitive proof of avoidant love. These three situations, staying during difficult moments, protecting you in your absence, and making voluntary future commitments, represent the ultimate expression of avoidant love, because they all require the avoidant to act against their most fundamental self-protective instincts. Each situation demands that they prioritize your well-being and the relationship's health over their own comfort and safety. Staying during emotional intensity means sacrificing their need for emotional safety. Protecting your reputation means risking social comfort and neutral positioning. Making future commitments means surrendering their preference for unlimited options and flexibility. These are enormous sacrifices for an avoidant to make, and they only make them for people who have become genuinely irreplaceable in their lives. The authenticity of their love in these situations is proven by the fact that these behaviors emerge naturally rather than being performed for effect. The avoidant isn't staying during your difficult moments to earn relationship points. They're staying because they can't bear to leave you alone in your pain. They're not defending you to prove their loyalty. They're defending you because attacks on you feel like attacks on something precious to them. Understanding these situations helps clarify the difference between an avoidant who cares about you and an avoidant who loves you. Someone who merely cares might offer support when it's convenient, stay neutral in conflicts to avoid drama, and keep their future plans deliberately vague. But someone who loves you will show up when it's difficult, take sides when it matters, and make commitments that prove their intention to choose you repeatedly over time. These situations also reveal why avoidant love is so powerful when it's genuine, because it requires them to overcome such strong internal resistance. Their love represents a complete reordering of their priorities and values. When an avoidant chooses you over their own comfort repeatedly in these three crucial areas, you can trust that their feelings are both deep and authentic. This staying power reveals genuine love because it requires the avoidant to act against their most fundamental self-protective instincts. They are choosing connection over comfort, intimacy over independence, your needs over their own emotional safety. This represents a profound shift in their priorities that only happens when someone has become truly important to them. The avoidant who loves you will sit with you during panic attacks without trying to fix or escape the situation. They'll remain present during your grief without making it about their discomfort with emotional expression. They'll stay close during your moments of anger or frustration without taking your emotions personally or using them as reasons to withdraw.